Welcome back to the channel, guys. Oh my goodness. Can you believe that Blake Lively is trying to withdraw her claims or her charges, however you want to put it? I'm not a lawyer. I don't play one on TV around emotional distress. Although I think I would make a great lawyer in a TV series, by the way. I genuinely think I would. I like to argue. I've always wanted to act. But either way, at this point, I don't. But can you believe that she is trying to get out of this? Girl, you made this mess. You made your bed. Like my mom told me when I was a kid, you best be sleeping in it. Go all the way. Justin's getting his 400 million, or at least withdraw it with prejudice. All right. How are you guys feeling this morning? For those that are new to the channel, welcome. On lives, I do like to hang out with the chat. If that irritates you, probably not a good idea to watch lives here. Just gonna be straight up. How are you guys? Hello. Thank you, Leo. Like the stream. Today, we are going to dive into a couple things. So my background is in branding and marketing. I have a special interest in SEO, particularly in the last couple of years, reputation management through SEO. And really how this channel came to be and how we started on the Blake, Ryan, Justin Baldoni lawsuits was I thought, oh my goodness, my experience brings a unique perspective to this. You guys can start to learn what's going on behind the scenes because I've worked with everyone from new entrepreneurs to big time public figures. So this is stuff that I've been immersed in this world for a really long time. So we are going to look at a couple of things today. If you want to see what led up to this, watch my video from yesterday that YouTube tried to take down because it was reported for nudity, apparently. What? For using the picture of Blake Lively with that TC guy from the TMZ article. But it's back up. Watch that because I'm going to, or I do talk about in that how we got here. And I said, I do think that not only was her strategy the last couple of weeks with Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants and this TC guy coming out, the body double of Justin Baldoni, and it ends with us supporting her. I said, not only are they trying to work on SEO, which is search engine optimization on Google, but I think they're also bracing for something. I will tell you something. I was not expecting this to be what they were bracing for. And I don't know if a body double coming forward and 20th anniversary of Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants is enough to get the media to back off this. I don't know. Call me crazy, but I don't think so. And especially since Variety was one of the first ones to run with this. They're usually Blake Lively friendly. Do you guys think that the tides are turning? Let me know in the comments. Do you think legacy media might actually switch sides? I don't know. We'll see, but we're going to dive into it. Hello, guys. It's so nice to see so many familiar faces. Yellow is my favorite color, so I love that eyeshadow. Well, thank you. I love fun colors. So it's so nice to hear you guys enjoy it as well. Hello from London. It's so nice. Let me know where you guys are coming in from. I'm in Ontario, Canada, and it finally feels like spring here. So that is very exciting. Okay, we're going to start here because I think we need to go down memory lane a little bit before we get into the fuckery that is happening. We need to look at okay, let me know in that chat. When's the last time you guys have looked at her original lawsuit? Because you best believe I got up this morning. I was like, I'm pulling it up. I'm pulling it up. I want to know how many times she said emotional distress in the original lawsuit. And I remember she brought her kids into it. So I wanted to look, and that's what we're going to do. So before we look at what's happening right now, I want to set the stage with what happened previously. So this is her original complaint, jury trial demanded, plaintiff Blake Lively. We're not going to go through the 93 pages, but let's just have a look. How many times did she say emotional distress? So let's just put it back in. Oh, even if you look up emotional without emotional distress, you get 27 results in her original complaint. So approve a plan for the implementation of certain. So they did not implement the plan for certain protections and they didn't adhere to it for her physical and emotional safety. We're not going to go through all of these 27 ones, but actually maybe we will. Caused her and her family severe emotional harm. Her and her family. Blake brought her kids and family into this and was like, JKing, I don't want y'all to see what's going on. She brought her whole family in. And I saw Legal Bites mention that she thought, it was kind of off-putting for her to see the kids mentioned in this. Those aren't direct words. Legal Bites is awesome. Love her. Give her a follow as well. All right, let's see where else. Mr. Baldoni engaged in other behaviors that were shocking and emotionally distressing. So we have 27 instances of emotional being added in. Mr. Baldoni, however, appeared focused on Miss Lively's appeal above all else. His lengthy outburst caused a delay in the shooting, forcing an emotional scene in the shot haphazardly. Emotional safety again. There's never an excuse to, she's quoting him, never an excuse to lay hands on a woman physically or emotionally, I think there. Another, emotional again. Emotional impact on Lively has been extreme. Again, not only affecting her, but her family, including her husband and 4 children. These are her words. Well, maybe Ryan wrote it. I don't know. I don't think the lawyers have much control over either of them. Impact on, so Ryan, she said she also has been experiencing repeated and painful physical symptoms. As a result of this experience, Mr. Reynolds, too, has been affected mentally, physically, and professionally by his wife's and children's pain. I want to know how Ryan's been affected professionally. I could see, not because of this, Blake's been affected, but people are just sick of Blake, and that's why her business is affected. Ryan continues to sign massive deals. I think the last one was 20th Century Television or something, where he had this huge first look deal that he just signed. So I love to see how Ryan's been impacted. And I think Blake had horrible reviews of her hair products before all of this came public. So anyway, this is good. I need to take blood pressure meds before I get into stuff like this. Worst of all, however, has been the impact on their young children who have been traumatized and emotionally uprooted in ways that have substantially impacted their well-being. The reason we're going through this is because, to me, the core foundation of her entire lawsuit was how horrifically traumatized and emotionally distressed, girl, same, yeah, her entire family was. And now she's saying, JKing, no. And what we're going to talk about, because again, my background's branding, marketing, SEO, PR, the whole kit and caboodle, the business side of things, how her team has spun this to be, we are streamlining the lawsuit. Pardon me, y'all claim that her kids were traumatized. I'm not a mom of kids, but I've worked, believe it or not, I have lived multiple lifetimes in this lifetime. My first career was in psychology. I was a counselor, and I worked primarily with children and youth prior to working with adults. They were a personal passion of mine because of my own upbringing and issues. So it was a personal passion of mine, the psychology and mental health of children and youth. If I did have kids, or even not my own kids, but the way I fought for other people's kids that were legitimately traumatized, the way I sat with girls in, that have been SA'd in hospitals, gone to trials against family members with these young girls, you best believe if my kids or someone close to me, I wouldn't just be like, oh, sorry. Just kidding. It's not worth me putting my mental health information into the lawsuit, which, by the way, is protected by, is it HIPAA, HIPPA? So it's not like this is just going to be thrown out into the news and blasted across headlines. Although she did blast Jed Wallace's health, by the way, for those that are just catching up on the case, she blasted his health issues. She made Justin Baldoni's health issues a centerpiece of the trial around the ADHD. So it's okay to go for everyone else's health issues. It's okay to dox other people. But when they do legitimate discovery against Blake Lively, it's an attack on women. They're bullies. They're going to the press. How dare they? Look at them. Because of them, now I have to withdraw this. Lady, if you were so traumatized and your children were so traumatized, you'd be handing those documents over on a silver fucking platter to say, look, This is proof of what you did to my children and family. Me, I'll go on the cross for my kids. I'm going to stand by my kids, but no, not Blake Lively. Not Blake Lively. Now it's just no, I'm going to drop it. Oh. Girl, if you're watching this, I know your team watches because my shit is always quoted in your hit pieces against Justin. And at the end of the day, which I think is hilarious, I'm really a nobody in terms of size of my channel compared to some of these other channels, but y'all keep quoting me. So I hope you're watching this because if your family was so traumatized, you would be going all the way. Even if it was no longer about you and it was only about the children and how your children were impacted by this case. You would be going all the way. Your medical records would be on a silver platter to prove what these people did to your children. But no. Girl. So her kids were, sorry for the rant. Kids are always a soft spot for me, which is what drew me to the field of psychology. And, I ran after school programs for at-risk youth. It was like a personal passion of mine, keeping them out of the system, then helping them once they were in the system. So this pisses me off. So her kids were traumatized and emotionally uprooted with substantial impact to their well-being. The action severely impacted Miss Lively's physical, psychological, and emotional well-being by creating an intimidating, hostile, and offensive work environment. Here we go again. Severe emotional distress and pain, humiliation, embarrassment, belittlement, frustration, and mental anguish, and is entitled to an award of punitive damages and an amount to be determined at trial. We can keep going, Blake. Severe emotional distress, emotional distress, emotional distress, emotional distress, emotional distress. 10th cause of action, intentional infliction of emotional distress, again. Like, are we seeing a theme here? 11th cause of action, negligence, infliction of emotional distress against Wayfarer, Baldoni, and Heath. Emotional distress. Don't take a shot every time we say emotional distress because y'all are going to be wasted 12 minutes into the stream. Emotional distress. Again, emotional distress. One of these provisions required an all-hands meeting to confirm and approve a plan for the implementation of these protections that will be adhered to for the physical and emotional safety of Miss Lively. All right. I think it covered most of them. But if we look at just the words emotional and distress together, 17 times it comes up. Where's the kid one again? So defendants, It Ends With Us Movies LLC and Wayfair failure to take all reasonable steps to prevent the unlawful harassment and retaliatory actions perpetrated by their co-defendants was a substantial factor in causing Miss Lively to suffer and continue to suffer substantial damages, including but not limited to severe emotional distress, pain. What pain? Humiliation, embarrassment. What, over your hair care products? Girl, there were bad reviews prior, and you started all this yourself. 1 year in jail for every time you say emotional distress. I'm here for that. Blake knows no shame. I genuinely don't think she does. I agree. I am just like, my blood pressure. Guys, I don't know if you've noticed, I used to wear my Fitbit all the time. I take it off when I do live streams on Blake Lively because it skews the down. Well, I guess it doesn't skew it. I guess I should be able to keep my cool, but I don't like it telling me I'm stressed out and to take a deep breath when I'm dealing with this. 10th cause of action. All right, I want to see if I can find the outrageous conduct by defendants was a substantial factor in causing Miss Lively, and it's like outrageous and trauma. Like these words, she's not playing until she actually, like, it's a game of chicken and she blinks first, because you best bet she's blinked first. And then children. So children are mentioned 3 times. The emotional impact on Miss Lively has been extreme, not only affecting her, but her family, including her husband and 4 children. There are days when she has struggled to get out of bed, and she frequently chooses not to venture outside in public. You sure about that? Because all we've seen is you lately. My husband, I was just talking to my husband about this the other day, and he goes, I've never seen her in the news as much as I've seen her since all this. What? Look at that. Everything's falling apart. Sorry, guys. Should have set up my space better before we got started. This is what happens when she gets me all flustered. Yeah, so my husband was saying, like, I haven't seen her in the news this much. But she's saying here, she can't get out of bed. She doesn't go out in public. Well, she's fought to maintain her personal life and business interests. You just launched a body mist where you say you want people to smell you. Behind closed doors, she has suffered from grief, fear, trauma, and extreme anxiety. She also has been experiencing repeated and painful physical symptoms as a result of, like, have you ever been like, wow, I'm the drama? Mr. Reynolds, too, has been affected. Worst of all, however, has been the impact on their young children who have been traumatized, emotionally uprooted. And here, if that is the case, what I'm saying, if that is the case, I truly believe there's no way she'd be like, no, I'm just backing out because I don't want my personal information to be seen by them. If your children were legit traumatized, if you were this traumatized, your entire family, I do not believe for a second. I'm sorry, Blake, you can push all the bullshit PR you want. I don't believe for a second that you're streamlining the lawsuit. This is apparently, by your own words, trauma that your children have experienced. Yeah. So, okay. Now we know. How the heck do her kids know about it, though? Who told them? I don't think she's saying that. Grab the sage. I have sage somewhere. I don't have anything to light it with, but I do have the sage. And I have a dragon crystal. Like, I have my own dragons, lady. One of my favorite crystals, by the way. I don't think she's necessarily saying the kids knew. I think she's saying because she and her husband were so emotionally distressed that they couldn't even get out of bed. This is my take. I could be completely wrong. We all bring our own perception to it. But that her and her husband were so impacted that due to it, it negatively impacted the kids. Like, she had all this anxiety. She was traumatized. She couldn't get out of bed. Physical symptoms, that it also created this anxiety for the kids or trauma on the kids is what I assume, but who knows what goes on in that house? Who knows? All right, where are we going next? Let's do some court documents. Let me just make sure I have everything in order that I want to go. So let me know what you guys think so far while I double check the order that I have everything pulled up for us. For client. Okay, we're going to go in this order. Let's do this. Okay, now I just have to make sure I grab the right file. I have so many files pulled up. Okay, so we're going to get into some of the recent court documents, and then we're going to get into what my jam is, what I get excited about as well, which is the SEO and the PR push that's going on. Girl, bye 4 kids, ain't no way the show goes on. Negligence since she doesn't have nannies. Well, and that's the thing too. I don't doubt that she has help. I find it very hard. That's a good point too. I find it very hard to believe. Okay. Which is also adding, not to say that, you can't be stressed or anxious or go through things even if you have help, but just like people are so tired of rich people complaining. And that's bad branding because the public is tired of rich people complaining about how hard they have it. Okay, so this was June 2nd. This was regarding Lively and Wayfair Studios versus Wayfair, versus Wayfair. Judge Lyman, we'll go with Lyman, As counsel for Wayfair Studios LLC, Justin Baldoni, Jamie Heath, Steve Sarwitz, It Ends With Us Movie LLC, Melissa Nathan, the Agency Group PR LLC, and Jennifer Abel. Collectively, the Wayfair parties, we write in accordance with Rules 1C and 4C of Your Honor's individual practices to request an order compelling Blake Lively to identify her medical and mental health care providers, to produce her mental health records, and to deliver to the Wayfair parties the necessary duly executed HIPAA, HIPAA, sorry, I think I did 2 P's earlier, authorizations permitting them to obtain Miss Lively's medical and mental health care records from her providers, the motion, which are responsive to certain requests for production. The health-related information is highly relevant. I agree. That's why I started with her initial filing. I agree with them. I think anyone with critical thinking skills could agree it is highly relevant. Oh, Blake. The health-related information is highly relevant to Miss Lively's 10th cause of action for intentional infliction of emotional distress. We saw that. And her 11th cause of action for negligent infliction of emotional distress. We just saw that. We went over it together. Instead of complying with the medical RFPs, Miss Lively's counsel recently advised us in writing that Miss Lively is withdrawing her IED claims. However, Miss Lively has refused the Wayfair party's reasonable request that the withdrawal of such claims be with prejudice. She is only willing to withdraw her claims without prejudice. In other words, Miss Lively wants to simultaneously A, refuse to disclose the information and documents needed to disprove that she suffered any emotional distress and or that the Wayfair parties were the cause, and B, maintain the right to refile her IED claims at an unknown time in this or some other court after the discovery window is closed. That is wild to me. But it's Blake. I don't know why anything surprises me anymore with her. Blake Lively cannot have it both ways. If Miss Lively wants to withdraw her frivolous IED claims, the Wayfair parties are entitled to a dismissal with prejudice. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but I think that makes sense, to ensure they will not be refiled. Well, especially, and again, I don't know, but I imagine this would be true. How do you refile them after the discovery window is closed? How is that even legal to do something like that? Miss Lively cannot have it both ways. Oh, if Miss Lively is unwilling to stipulate to the dismissal of her ID claims with prejudice, then the Wayfair parties will continue to defend against them, and she must produce her medical information and documents as set forth herein. Good for them. That is amazing. Like, push. That's what I mean. Justin, I genuinely believe, one, that everyone is with fault. We all have faults. No human is without fault. And I think if you put anyone, whether it's Justin Baldoni or your best friend or whoever, on a pedestal, they will never fault. They will never do something that lets you down or whatever. Everyone is with fault. So I never hold anyone to the standard that they're always perfect and never make mistakes. But two, with that being said, I genuinely believe that this is all bullshit. To put it quite bluntly, that this is all bullshit. And for whatever reason, Blake and Ryan wanted to take over this movie. And until I have proof otherwise, which she has not put out a shred of proof, until I have proof otherwise, I'm going to continue to believe that. Because this seems shady as shit that you want to withdraw it, let the discovery window close, because you let me know in the chat who here thinks that Blake Lively would be sneak enough to let the discovery window close and then refile it. All right, so she has withdrawn. We won't go through every single word. I do have the email that was sent out, so we can pull that up. Which one is it? There's so many here. No, that's not what. I'm going to close that. I'm going to close that so I don't get confused. Okay, let's see. So this is the email that was attached. And this is from Kristen Bender. to Teresa Troopson, Ezra Hudson, and Michael Gottlieb. Counsel, we are in receipt of your latest correspondence from Saturday at 11:29 p.m. Eastern. Wait, no, they sent something that late. And Sunday at 12:02 a.m. Eastern. We are amendable to Miss Lively's filing a stipulation with respect to cause of action X to X, 10 to 11, and have provided edits to your proposed draft stipulation in the attached. We expect this resolves your concerns. If you would like to discuss, we are available tomorrow afternoon. Counsel for the parties have already scheduled a meet and confer at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, and we can do so during that teleconference. Best Kristen Bender. And then this one is from Teresa Troopson, sent Sunday, June 1st to Ezra Hudson. Counsel, please see the attached correspondence. And this is the stipulation of partial dismissal without prejudice, which means, from what I can understand, is that she can refile later. Now, I was watching, and forgive me because I can't remember who I was watching, but there was a lawyer that was saying, apparently, I'm also not American, so I don't know the American legal system. But in federal court, both sides have to agree. So, like, from what I'm understanding is Justin's side has to agree on how this charge is withdrawn. So the argument right now is like, sure, Blake, you can withdraw it if you take away the without prejudice part. If you agree that you will not come at us again in the future for this, then yeah, sure. But the problem is if she wants to be able to say, well, not right now, but I want to be able to say that I can resubmit it at any time. I can bring this back. So this legal document here says it is hereby stipulated and agreed by and between the undersigned attorneys for the parties to the above captioned actions that pursuant to federal R-Civ P 15 and 4 and this court's inherent authority, plaintiff Blake Lively hereby voluntarily withdraws and dismisses the 10th cause of action, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and the 11th cause of action, negligent infliction of emotional distress, asserted in her amended complaint without prejudice, with each party to bear their own costs and fees associated with the foregoing dismissed claims and without the withdrawal or dismissal of any other claim, counterclaim, or third-party claim asserted herein. It is therefore stipulated and agreed that this stipulation may be executed in counterparts in electronic or facsimile. Signatures shall have the same force and effect as the OGs. Now let's see what Blake had to say. Because after Blake's team seems to have gone to the media after she accuses Justin's team of doing that, which is always funny. I always say, with Blake, you have to look. 'Cause it's all projection. They like to accuse everyone else of doing what they do. Okay, I can close this. Let me just find the right tab. I have so many tabs open. Okay, so then we have this. And this is, and we'll also look at, because it's funny, it seemed as though, and I didn't look at the exact times, but it did seem as though, and I might be wrong, I'm open to being wrong here, that the media was running with this before it was officially available, or at least before even content creators found it, but the media was running with this. So this one says, Dear Judge Lehman, on behalf of our client, Blake Lively, we respectively oppose. Now sit down, guys, and you might want to take your blood pressure medication. Again, if you haven't taken it yet. We respectively oppose a motion to compel and related filings by the Wayfair parties earlier today, given that the motion is a false and plainly improper public relations stunt. Says the girl who is continuously pulling PR stunts. Says the girl, Blake Lively, who brought her CRD complaint to the New York Times. Says the girl that cannot stay out of the media. Here's the thing. I'm just want to say I'm sending love to anyone watching from Ontario, Manitoba. We have really bad wildfires in Canada. And I was just thinking of it because I looked out the window and the skies are dark here even. Yes, please like the stream. Follow. If you guys enjoy media manipulation, learning more about it, narrative control, I have a whole playlist with that. I go into like the Stephanie Jones website where there was someone that created a Stephanie Jones is a liar website. There's some really cool content under the media manipulation heading playlist. But I just like she has nothing. She has nothing because if she had something, all she's falling back on is Justin defends himself. He's an abuser. Justin files a motion. This is a PR stunt. They're going in the media. Girl, I'm going to get you a mirror. Maybe we can like go fund a big ass mirror for Blake Lively because I think she needs a mirror in her house. And I'm shocked she doesn't have one because I feel like she's very much in love with herself. But she needs a big ass mirror because everything she does is a PR stunt. And every time Justin tries to defend himself, to file something to defend himself, they're just like, bully. This is from the essay playbook. PR stunt. Maybe the public just can't stand you, Blake. Like maybe we cannot stand you and we cannot stand you more with every single filing you do. So that's what she's saying. This is all a PR stunt. But it seems like Justin's team just wants her to lose. Like throw it in the fuck it bucket, the without prejudice. Drop the without or drop the out. You just have 3-letter word, Blake. You just have to remove a 3-letter word. And how did they not expect this? Sorry. I'm just on a thing now. You just expect them to not, you send them an email, you file these documents saying that you are going to withdraw, and you just expect them to what? Just take it? Blake Lively is a walking embodiment of just trust me, bro. Like, I get what I want. Miss Lively further requests that the court deny and strike the motion pursuant. Oh, you and your stupid fucking strikes. The inherent power to control material on its docket and that it is abusive or otherwise improper under the circumstances. Miss Lively respectively submits that the court may wish to consider sanctions for the continued abuse of the court's docket. I'm going to say something here. Is there a mirror big enough? Good question and probably not. Probably not. Chuck it in the fuck it bucket. Chuck it right in the fuck it bucket, guys. I'm going to say, if the judge comes down on Justin Baldoni's lawyers for this and actually follows through with any of this and sees it as abuse of court docket, I have more concerns about the judge. Because that would be wild. So basically, the docket's only for Blake Lively. She needs authorship over the court docket. So therefore, if something is in the court docket that Blake Lively did not give authorship over, she wants it stricken and she wants penalties in place. She wants sanctions because no one asked for Blake Lively's authorship over that, if that was allowed on the court docket or not. I'm sticking with Blake legit needs some kind of like spiritual awakening. I don't know if it would actually help her, but she needs to go to something. The motion was filed for a single audience, the media. There is nothing for this court to compel. As the Wayfair parties make abundantly clear in their motion, Miss Lively voluntarily agreed to withdraw her infliction of emotional distress on Friday, May 30th. Lively did so in good faith to streamline the dispute in the ordinary litigation process, given the damages she otherwise anticipates recovering. Counsel for the Wayfair parties concede and are aware that there renders this discovery moot. Motion at 3. Sounds like the news. Today at 3. Blake Lively is a liar. But they also have been desperately searching for an angle to make a show out of Miss Lively's decision to streamline her case. To streamline her case. I think Blake and co really need to watch this video from front to back. Like, just to see. Like, maybe they just need to go back and remember what they wrote in the initial one. Because the entire thing was based on the trauma, agonizing pain, physical, emotional pain that Justin and Wayfair caused her. But they're streamlining the process. Girl, everything was based on that. Like, I'm not usually at a loss of words, but Blake continuously puts me at a loss of words. Given this counsel, I genuinely hope Blake and her team watch this because y'all know they're watching my shit. And I'm not saying that just because I'm making up in my head, because they always include me in their hit pieces. And I'm like legit a no one in comparison to the size of other accounts. Given this counsel for the Wayfair, and here's the thing, it's a threat when someone understands what's going on. I understand media manipulation. I understand narrative control. I understand all of this. So when she has people out here, not just me, that are calling her out on this shit, and they're like, I also understand what you're doing, it's also a threat. Given this, counsel for the Wayfair parties attempted to seize on the parties' agreement as Miss Lively's withdrawal as a basis for a frivolous motion. On Friday, counsel for the Wayfair parties proposed a stipulation to dismiss Miss Lively's 10th and 11th cause of action for intentional and negligent infliction of emotional distress. Respectively, Miss Lively's counsel provided proposed edits to the stipulation on Sunday evening. This makes sense now. So this was all going down on Sunday, and I don't know if you guys saw my Instagram story. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram, Ashley Brianna Eve. It's just my name, because I had said, like, there's a lot of movement over the weekend. There's something going, like a lot of movement, and publications are getting access to things that you wouldn't really get access to over the weekend. So this makes sense because all of this was going down over the weekend and they were trying to get ahead of it with positive PR. Because if they could flood Google with all of this positive PR, one, they get ahead of it, but two, you could try, although I can't imagine it's going, well, you never know, trying to bury this, like flood it so much that this gets pushed down or this really doesn't make much of a mark when you're Googling things in search engines around Blake Lively lawsuit, etc. So that makes sense because this was all going down all weekend. So Miss Lively's counsel provided proposed edits to the stipulation on Sunday evening after receiving repeated emails on Friday, late Saturday evening, and early on Sunday morning. Falsely and disingenuously claiming that Miss Lively was refusing to participate in discovery by not immediately responding in the middle of the night, apparently. And I'm going to be throwing stones in a glass house and threatening to advise the court. The Wayfair parties offer no basis whatsoever for their unnecessary escalation. I wonder why they are escalating with you people. Of a mutually agreeable streamlining of claims, or why finalizing the method of dismissal could not wait until Monday morning. Nonetheless, in an effort to diffuse the situation and avoid unnecessary burden in the court, Miss Lively agreed to the stipulated dismissal and proposed modest revisions to the parties' joint stipulation for dismissal on Sunday evening. And conveying the revisions, counsel for Miss Lively offered to meet and confer regarding any dispute as to the language of the stipulation, including on the parties' then forthcoming teleconference scheduled for Monday afternoon at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Counsel for the Wayfair parties, including Mr. Fritz, sound like no shade to Mr. Fritz, but it just sounds like the cutest, like Shih Tzu type name or something. I don't know. And I don't mean that as any disrespect. It's a super cute name. As signatory on the motion, attended the teleconference and did not address the stipulation. To be clear, at no point during the conference did they object to or raise any concern regarding Miss Lively's proposed revisions to the stipulation. Instead, they rushed to the court to file this clearly pre-written motion the minute that the teleconference concluded. Y'all know everything about having shit ready. Do we need to remind you about the New York Times article, Blake? Claiming that she has sensationally dropped her IIED claim, quoting extensively from the motion. How long do they talk? Ugh. The Wayfair party's motion should be denied and further should be struck. It's based on two brazenly false assertions. First, they claim that Miss Lively has refused to disclose medical and mental health information, but as counsel for the Wayfair parties concede, that information is irrelevant or is relevant only to Miss Lively's standalone tort-based emotional distress claims that she indicated she was withdrawing. Yes, but without prejudice, Blake. Are you being intentionally obtuse? because there's no other way that you can write this with a straight ass face. See motion at 3 to suggest that Miss Lively has refused to produce anything, neither her written discovery responses in the parties' conference or any time thereafter, in connection with these claims and intentionally misleading to the court and their intended audience for this falsehood record, the public. I don't think they said that she hasn't produced anything. They said that it was the doctor's records. So I don't know. Blake, did you turn over all your medical records? Because they didn't say you didn't turn over anything. Second, they claim that Miss Lively has refused to properly stipulate to dismissal, but that would suggest there was any discussion or mutually known dispute as to the stipulation. As noted, there was none. Further, the motion seeks to improperly compel documents that the Wayfair parties lack a legal basis to obtain and seeks no relief at all as to the stipulation. Because the Wayfair parties concede that Miss Lively has agreed to dismiss the 10th and 11th causes of action to which such discovery is solely directed, and they have agreed to the dismissal and proposed a joint stipulation to that effect, the motion does not legitimately seek any form of relief, is irrelevant to any motion currently pending before the court, and serves no legitimate purpose. It seems as though it does to me. The purpose is either turn over your shit or remove the out. So it is, you're getting rid of it with prejudice. No legal basis. I know, it's wild. They did not agree. She's just making shit up at this point. I don't know how they say any of this with a straight face. As with the Freeman letter that the court previously struck. And who's talking to the media? Who is talking to the media? Come on. Don't play us like we are stupid, Blake and team. Because this is to the media, especially those words. Because you don't have to add that. But it's to the media. Because people are going to be like, oh, like another one, Blake's team has to strike another one. And I wouldn't even be surprised if you start to see headlines about that now. From her team, of course. The apparent intent of the motion is to launder their public relations narrative into the press by... Stop. You guys are stealing all my content now. I accused Ryan of reputation laundering, Blake. I have a video accusing Ryan of that. Ryan is reputation laundering. Stop taking my content and twisting it. Into the press by abusing the court's docket. Oh, I'm definitely, after this video, definitely going to be back in some hit piece. Miss Lively respectively requests that the court exercise its inherent authority to control its own docket and strike the motion as unnecessary, improper, and abusive. The court may also wish to issue sanctions under its, of course, inherent authority to deter continued misconduct in connection with the Wayfair parties' future filings. Last, because the parties have agreed, they did not agree to without prejudice. What? What? Miss Lively's 10th and 11th causes of action. Miss Lively requests that the court exercise its inherent authority and authority under Rule 15 to dismiss them without prejudice. Ugh. I'm going to sue them for emotional distress. This is wild. Gaslighting and hypocrisy at its finest. Literally. There's an article a while ago with her lawyers talking about her profound mental something issues, maybe. Oh, I'm going to have to see if I can find that. Okay. Well, I don't know, guys. I don't know. I just need a breather. I just need a breather. I just need I need something to light the sage. I have to sage my office after this. Are her lawyers secretly moonlighting as PR agents? Yeah. My blood pressure. Like, this just stresses me out because I don't like bullies. Oh my God, there's a moth in my office. I can't handle bullies, but it's just twisting everything. All right. Good job, Ashley. I swatting the poor little moth that I scared. All right. A couple deep breaths. Let's go into this. So, what we started to see, in my opinion, this is positive. What we started to see was big name platforms like Variety run with this. These big platforms that can be kind of like connected to like the web of Hollywood typically have leaned more pro Blake. So I'm not going to lie, I was very surprised to see Variety hit the ground running with this. So good on you, Variety. They ran with Blake Lively abandons claims against Justin Baldoni of infliction of emotional distress. Blake Lively is attempting to withdraw her claims against Justin Baldoni of intentional infliction of emotional distress and negligent infliction of emotional distress. What I like about this article is they get to the point. I'm going to show you guys after we look at this article and another article why that's so critical. Research shows we read in an F pattern. So when I'm looking at SEO for clients or we're working on their branding or even SEO for their website or blog or LinkedIn articles, about 80% of people only read the headline and we read in an F pattern. So you're going to read the headline and then, you get lower and lower as you go. So it turns into an F pattern as you read. So the first 100 words are critical to an article. So the fact that Variety not only got this like very to the point headline, but they also got to the meat and potatoes of it all within the first sentence, really good. I like it. The move comes after Baldoni's legal team sought discovery that included her medical records in their efforts to defend the It Ends With Us director against her claim that she suffered severe emotional distress and pain, humiliation, embarrassment, belittlement, frustration, and mental anguish. I mean, I would have loved for them to add that she also said she couldn't get out of bed, that it traumatized her children, it traumatized Ryan, but I like this, Variety. Good job. Lively's attempt to withdraw the two claims surfaced in a filing Monday by Baldoni's attorneys who are seeking to compel the actress to sign a HIPAA release for access to therapy notes and other relevant information. But Blake is like, but they're saying that we, misrepresenting that we didn't turn anything over. They didn't say that. This is what they were going after, and they very clearly didn't get it. Instead of complying with the medical RFPs, Miss Lively's counsel recently advised us in writing that Miss Lively is withdrawing her infliction of emotional distress claims. Today's filing states. However, Miss Lively has refused the Wayfair party's reasonable request that the withdrawal of such claims be with prejudice. She's only willing to withdraw her claims without prejudice. In other words, we've already read that. She wants her cake and to eat it too. She wants authorship, full authorship. Lively's lawyers, Ezra Hudson and Mike Gottlieb, called the filing a press stunt. So this is what I like. So I want you guys to think it before I say it. So we read in an F, and the first 100 words are critical because very few people are getting that this far down the page. Good for them. Variety, in my opinion, based on everyone that's following this case with critical thinking skills, got the truth out there without allowing Blake to have authorship over this article. So yeah, sure, they add her stuff, but it's near the bottom. Good on them. So they say how her lawyers called it a press stunt. Baldoni's lawyers declined to comment. The court will now need to decide whether to compel Lively to turn over the information on her mental health, which she has sought to avoid, or dismiss the two claims with or without prejudice. It's a standard procedure in cases, and I like this, it's a standard procedure in cases alleging physical or emotional injury for the defense to access the plaintiff's medical records that would shine a light on the root and scope of alleged distress. So Variety is also saying this is normal. This is not a press stunt. This is not outside the realm of what you can expect in this kind of case. So Variety's really got his back here. What is unusual is for the plaintiff to abandon the claims midstream, given that it is well known heading into such a lawsuit that medical records will be an unpleasant but inevitable part of the discovery process. So I love Variety is backing that what Justin is asking for, without saying those exact words, is not a press stunt. This is normal. What's not normal is Blake. And again, to see a big platform like Variety say that, I don't know. I don't know how mainstream media is going to dig themselves out of this shithole. But it is nice. It's genuinely nice to see. And here's the problem. If we take the lens that all mainstream media is horrible, we really lose the opportunity to get the proper news to people that only get their news through legacy media, that only get their news through Google, that go in and type into Google, which, hey, I'm going to admit, that's what I do still. I'm old. I don't go to TikTok for my news. I don't go to Instagram. I follow some creators on YouTube, but I go to Google and I type in like Blake Lively lawsuit news, Justin Baldoni lawsuit news to see what's going on. And a lot of people, the majority of people still do that. Now I understand the media manipulation and narrative control that happens. So I'm able to read between the lines of what's going on and think, for myself, as everyone in this community does. You think for yourself, you critically think about what you're seeing. But I'm not of the mindset that we write off everyone, because if we start going so hard that we write off all legacy media, like, then people are going to say, well, should I not trust this? Is this bad? And then it also starts to get a little bit like dicey when you're like, well, no, just don't trust anything on Blake Lively's side. To me, it's a weird space to walk. So for me, it's more about critical thinking. And on my channel, I try to bring all my experience in branding and marketing and PR and SEO and all of it to the table so that you guys can look at Google. You don't have to be afraid to go to legacy media because you have the tools to understand what's going on. And that's what I aim to do with my knowledge in the industry and talking about this case, because this article is pro Justin and they did a fantastic job of doing it. So for me, it seems a bit hypocritical to be like, screw all legacy media. Well, except except Variety on, January. I wish it was only January, June 2nd, because this is pro Justin. They hit with a hard headline. In the first 100 words, they get out Justin's side. She's attempting to withdraw it. And this move comes after they were seeking out discovery. Normal part of the legal process. They bury anything about Blake lower in the article, and then they wrap it up with basically saying, this is normal. This is all normal. What's not normal is Blake. So I really like this article. I think it's fantastic. And then we got this article. So right away after. So Blake, her team accuses Justin of being ready for press stuff. This came right after. Deadline was running with this story. But only Justin's ready. Justin's team is ready to go to the press. Blake Lively insists she is not dropping emotional distress claims. Oh, pick a side, Blake. Pick a side. I thought we just saw a letter. Okay, guys, am I going crazy? Am I going crazy? Because we read the original, or not the whole thing, but we looked at all the emotional distress issues in her original lawsuit or complaint or whatever, filing against Justin. We then read the letters from Wayfair, the emails, Blake's side, who, if I remember correctly, had said, we're dropping the emotional distress. What are they talking about? Wayfair is doing a PR stunt with this because we said we were withdrawing it. So what's their point? Why are they saying that they need to compel us? We already said we were dropping it. We all agree to drop it. And now you have Blake running with, guys, I never said I'm not dropping it. Where'd you guys get that? I feel like I am being gaslit in real time. Anyone else feeling a little gaslit? But look at when the article was published. June 2nd at 4:45. Which is interesting because isn't that right after when the meet and confer was, when she was like, yeah, but good catch, guys. You guys are so good. I love this community. I love this community. This community should be like also continuing education credits for media and marketing. I think there should be an official like CECs that you get here. That's interesting. Is it east or west? I have no idea. That's a good question, but I genuinely have no idea or how to even tell. But either way, it's still quick. That's still a quick turnaround. But that's interesting. If it's Eastern, that was ready to go. But I genuinely don't know. Anyway, after some quiet on the East Coast court docket front, once again, the battle royale, now we're in WWE territory, between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, and it ends with, they got all the SEO. They got all the SEO words at the top. It ends with us directors' inner circle has become a she said, they said in the federal courts. I don't know. Kind of seems like everyone against Blake at this point, and Blake's the only one without any proof. Specifically, this time it has to do with the emotional distress claims that the Another Simple Favor actress has in her initially filed New Year's Eve lawsuit against her It Ends With Us co-star director, his Wayfair Studios, its execs, and PR team. First filing a SH and retaliation complaint with California's Civil Rights Department against Baldoni, Melissa Nathan, Jennifer Abel, billionaire Steve Sarwitz. Why do Blake wrote it when billionaires added in? Blake, stop showing your hand, girl. Girl, we know your team wrote this when you have to add in billionaire Steve Sarwitz. What a nut. Oh. Lively took to court formally a few weeks later, and then the lawsuits all around started filing as of now with a 400 million. Okay, we know this. When are we getting to the point? And a letter Monday to judge. And that's again why I love Variety. Can you guys see the difference also in writing styles? Variety's like, bam, here's your information. Hooks you in. This, I'm like, we already know this. And a letter Monday to Judge Lewis J. Lehman with an email exchange between lawyers on both sides from this weekend attached. Baldoni attorney Kevin Fitz says Miss Lively's counsel recently advised us in writing that Miss Lively is withdrawing her IED claims, telling the judge that this all emerged out of Team Baldoni's desire to have Lively identify her medical and mental health care providers. Okay, we know that. Unsurprisingly, even for a very public and ever-growing brawl that this has been since last December, Lively said no way. What she did say is she would drop the ID claims for now with a catch. Lively can't have it both ways, Fitz said, then lambasting the actress and her team. If Miss Lively wants to withdraw her frivolous IED claims, Wayfair parties are entitled to a dismissal with prejudice to ensure they not be refiled. I agree. If Miss Lively is unwilling to stipulate with the dismissal of her IED claims with prejudice, then the Wayfair parties will continue to defend against them. We already read that. As they have before after various docket dust-ups, including a now withdrawn Taylor Swift subpoena, Lively's lead lawyers, Ezra Hudson and Mike Gottlieb, are crying foul. Once again, this is a routine part of the litigation process that is being used as a press stunt. We are doing what trial lawyers Freudian slip. Doing what liars do. Doing what liars do. That's what Blake's team is doing. We are doing what trial lawyers do, preparing our case for trial by streamlining and focusing it. They are doing what they do, desperately seeking another tired round of tabloid coverage. Hudson and Gottlieb added, not saying the names of Baldoni's most public lawyer, Bryan Freedman, but clearly saying Bryan Freedman's name, if you know what I mean. I feel like Blake and Ryan wrote this. I don't know. I feel like Blake and Ryan wrote this. The Baldoni Wayfair, which is a thing, submitting your own pre-written stuff. The Baldoni Wayfair strategy of filing retaliatory claims has exposed them to expansive new damages claims under California law, rendering certain of Miss Lively's original claims no longer necessary. Miss Lively continues to allege emotional distress as part of numerous other claims in her lawsuit, such as SH and retaliation and massive additional compensatory damages on all of her claims. She gives me a headache. From the statement, it is unclear if that means an amended complaint from Lively is actually coming or not, though not necessarily required and therefore unlikely. It's also unclear, given with the Golden State status aspect of this, if an amended complaint is coming or if it will or will not include the 10th cause of action for intentional infliction of emotional distress and her 11th cause of action for negligent infliction of emotional distress that are currently in the Time 100's honoree suit. They also have to be like, billionaire Steve Sarowitz, and don't forget she's a titan with Time 100. Again, not for the first time in this matter, a tempest or a teacup that is clear as mud. I don't think it's clear as mud. I think Blake and her team are a bunch of bullshitters. So there you go. We are doing what trial lawyers do, preparing our case for trial by streamlining. They are doing what they do, desperately seeking another tired round of tabloid coverage. What is this then, Blake? Y'all were the first ones to run to people with a statement when Taylor Swift's subpoena was withdrawn. Justin's side didn't, Taylor's side didn't, but y'all had to have your moment. Y'all had to have your voices heard. So who loves the press? You ran to the New York Times. You worked with them prior to your CRD complaint being officially filed. But Justin's team loves the press. Like, oh God, Blake. What? I just can't. I don't know how you deal with someone like this. No wonder Justin ended up in the hospital because of these people. I don't know how you deal with people like this in your day-to-day life. The gaslighting is real. All right. I am actually at a loss of words. Okay, so just to show you guys really quick, when we're looking at why I love the Variety article so much, and not only do I love it from a place of, they obviously put the truth out there, but they hit the ground running. You didn't have to dig for it. You didn't have to read 200 words for it. They hit the ground running. And I'm sure you can see like the difference between the two articles. This is what research shows. So we read the headline, H1 headline, and about the first 100 words, and then it drops off. So these are images as well here on studies that were done. You're reading the top, and then again, it's dropping off. You might pick up some on the bottom. Some people tend to go like 100 words and straight down. Others might go 100 words and then more on an angle like this. But either way, what we're seeing is an F pattern of reading. So I really like the Variety article, and I think it really shows that they genuinely are like supporting Justin. Now let's see what's going on with Blake in the news. Girl, I'm going to say that your good news that you put out is being buried. So this is SEO. So when we're looking at SEO, it's search engine optimization. Essentially, for any brand or business, you don't just have to be a celebrity. Any brand or business, you want control of the first 2 pages of Google. You want it to be in the light most favorable to you. You want the first 2 pages of Google. So if someone types in what I did, Blake Lively News, as an example, you want it to be favoring you and your narrative at the forefront. Because most people, research shows, don't go past the first 2 pages. Well, most people don't go past the first. And that's why it's prime real estate to have, if you have a website or a LinkedIn article or a blog article, to have it within the first few searches. Most people are looking at the first couple searches, they're clicking on it, and they're going with that. This is what is now dominating. If you saw yesterday, so my video yesterday, I post what was trending yesterday, which was, the body double coming out for Justin Baldoni and basically supporting Blake Lively. The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants was trending. A director came out to support Blake Lively, but watch that whole video. That was all trending. And I had said, it was too much positive news for Blake Lively to, at the same time, for it to be organic. It wasn't organic. It was PR. But now you put in Blake Lively news, and this is what's coming up at the top. Blake Lively abandons claims against Justin Baldoni. So this is also the SEO that Variety used is also smart for them, because remember I talked about how great it was, the first 100 words? Well, when we're looking at any search engine, when they scrape a website, so when you type in Blake Lively news, it's going to scrape the websites. For SEO, big things are going to be your H1 headline, your H2 headline, and the little blurb that you put. So Variety put everything they needed to on what people would be searching right up at the top, very clear headline. So that's also not only good because it's bringing Justin's story first, but they know whoever's doing the SEO for Variety knows how to be seen first. So we can see the difference, right? This one here, the deadline's near the bottom on the front page, news of what's coming up. It's still trending because that's what people are searching right now, but it's down lower. And this got the big picture too. So Blake Lively abandons claims. Blake Lively moves to drop claims. Blake Lively makes shocking legal move in her heated battle. Blake Lively slams claims she's refusing to release medical records. Of course you are, Blake. Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni lawsuit gets messier. So what we're seeing at the very top of her search results is that she's dropping the claims. Now, if you go down, well, there now you see the People magazine article, which she was would maintain some momentum. Justin Baldoni's body double says Blake Lively seemed close off on "It Ends With Us" set. But that's at the bottom. Still first page, but at the bottom. And then if we're going over to the second page, what comes up? So the Forbes latest in Justin Baldoni Blake Lively feud. Lively withdraws emotional distress claim. I'm imagining Blake put this one out. The rise and influence of Blake Lively in film and fashion. I imagine Blake had authorship over that one. Staying. Blake Lively slams claims. Major update as Blake Lively drops claim against Justin Baldoni legal case. Shocking move. Drops claims. Sorry, not case. Makes unexpected legal move. She's dropping emotional distress claims. Oh my God. Justin Baldoni's team seemingly tried to pressure Blake Lively into dropping emotional distress claims. So I would say what you're going to see very likely in the press right now is those two sides. So you're going to see the side that is it very well could also start seeing statements from Justin's team, although I imagine they're likely going to stay quiet on it because heaven forbid they say anything, all of a sudden they're using the media. But you're going to see the two sides, and I imagine her team's going to try and hit back to take control of that front page again. So you're likely going to see more articles on this type of headline. Now, things can change. This case changes so fast that I had Instagram Reels created to post today, and I can't even post them because they're not relevant anymore. So this case moves so fast that they could change strategy. But I would say Blake's best move, I mean, it's not an ethical move, it's not an integrity move, but her best move would to be really push this right now and battle it out in terms of SEO. But right now, Variety's number one. That bigger image is going to draw your eye in. We're squirrel cats with lint in the air. The bigger image is going to draw our eye in. Variety's winning the SEO right now. So the narrative has shifted. And then, here's this body double. It's insignificant now. That's how fast the news cycle is moving in this case. where an article 22 hours ago is like basically irrelevant now. So wild. All right, guys, I've got to go take care of my sheep. I'm a little bit overdue for his next shots. He's sick, so I have to give him shots every 6 hours. I'm a little bit overdue, so I have to run down to the barn and take care of him. But before I go, I want to hear from you guys. Like, what are you thinking about all of this? Am I the only one that's feeling gaslit in real time? Like that her team is just gaslighting the public and seeing if that works? Like, we're just going to throw spaghetti at the wall, gaslight the public, and hope that works. Yes, please like this. Thanks, Leo. You're the best. I don't know what I would do without you. You've always got my back. You're not alone. So gaslit. I am glad I am not alone. Holy crap. Hope Polly feels better. Thank you so much. He's doing much better this morning. I love you guys. Doing much, much, much better this morning. So we're hoping that continues in a positive direction. And her followers are right there gaslighting too. I'm wondering how many are legit followers and how many are bots at this point, or sock puppet accounts, because sock puppet accounts would, and they're known to do it. I also have a video on that. If you love this kind of content, guys, subscribe to the channel and then head over to my media manipulation heading, because I talk about how Ryan Reynolds was astroturfing in Ontario, Canada, and he had sock puppet accounts. So they have sock puppet accounts and they astroturf. I've caught them doing this shit. They did it in Ontario when he was leveraging the Tragically Hip for positive PR. He was astroturfing. He had sock puppet accounts. So I wouldn't be surprised that some of those accounts are sock puppets. Yes. Happy Pride Month, everyone. Oh my goodness. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for being here, guys. All right, guys. Okay. I slipped by Blake a new fragrance. You know, it would be appropriate. All right, my friends, I've got to go take care of the sheep. But with that, I just want to say thank you for being here. I couldn't do this without you guys. And it's so nice that I have other people can be like, no, you're not losing it, Ashley. We see this too. So thank you for being you. And with that, guys, I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.